In this Fox and Hammer video, we're going to tackle a project I've been putting off for a while, which is how to take that clunky garage door opener and transfer those features to your smartphone. This build was inspired by Make magazine. I'll put a link to the original article below. The first step is to figure out which pins are the ones that actually activate the garage to go up and down. The way that you do that is you find the exposed terminals and you take a small jumper wire, and by touching them or bridging them, you can actually short it out, which will make it go up and down, and that tells you which pins are the pins that we should be focused on. The brain for our project is called a Photon. It's made by a company called Particle. And really what it is a Wi-Fi chip and microcontroller, and we're going to program this to activate the switch when we hit the button. It should also come with a micro USB cable. Next up is a 2-channel relay. What this is going to do is take the instructions from the microcontroller and translate that into a high current switch, which will control the garage door opener. This here is a plastic project box I got on Amazon. I'm going to use this to house the completed project underneath the garage door. Next up, we've got an assortment of jumper cables in various colors. It also came with a small breadboard that I think I might use for the project. And last but not least, we've got our USB charger. I think it's capable up to like 2.4 amps, which is way more than we'll need. Here's all our tools and parts laid out here. The only additional things that I got were some wire strippers, some small screwdrivers. Also had some spools of solid core wire, and really that's about it. It's pretty simple. Alright, let's get started. So first up, what we're going to do is take the breadboard and some double-stick tape, stick it down. Also then take the 2-channel relay, stick it down with some double-stick tape. Make sure that the terminals on the relay are pointing out, because we're going to want to connect some wires to those. Next, take your particle photon and clip it into the breadboard, making sure that the USB connection is pointing towards the outside. If you look closely at both the photon as well as the 2-channel relay, you'll notice that there are numbers along the edges. What you want to do here is connect on the photon D0 pin. That's what I'm doing now. And then you want to connect that to input 1 on the 2-channel relay. Next up, I connect the D3 pin on the photon to input 2 on the 2-channel relay. Last but not least are the power and ground. Here I'm connecting the VOC or power on the 2-channel relay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it to the 3.3 volt on the photon pin. That's what I'm doing here, and that'll supply 3.3 volts. Last up, we connect the grounds, so connect G and D on the relay to the same ground on the photon, and we're done. Here are some close-up photos of the 2-channel relay as well as the photon board, which may help in understanding where the pins are going. Next step is to find some solid core wire, and what we're going to be doing here is having a little jumper that is actually connecting the 2 common pins on the 2-channel relay. Alright, so connect your photon to some power. It'll go through its boot cycle, and what you'll also see if you look at the 2-channel relay is the input 1 and input 2 lights should be illuminated. Next, grab your phone, go to the iTunes store, look for Blynk, B-L-Y-N-K, download the app. When it loads there, fire it up. It's going to have you create an account, and then we can actually jump in and create our project. Alright, so create a new project. We're going to name it Garage Opener. It's then going to ask you to select your device, which I'm going to choose Particle Core. Even though I'm using a photon, they'll function the same. It's then going to ask us what do we want to create. We want to add a button. Click on that there. Click on it again. It'll pull up the properties. You can name it. I can name it Garage Opener. And then after this, we are going to go into the actual pin selection and assign the pin by clicking on the name there to digital 0. So D0. And then save this here. And what that'll do is generate a security token and email it to us, and then we'll be able to program our project. Before we can use our particle photon, what we need to do is activate it. And so the easiest way to do that is to download the Particle app from the iPhone store. And what you'll then do is go through the setup process, and effectively what you're doing is creating an account, and then you're bringing the photon online by connecting it to your existing home network. After that's done, we'll be able to flash the code to the photon and finish our project. Now we need to compile the code that allows the particle to execute the command that the Blynk app will send to it. So go ahead and go into the interface there, and what we're going to do is head over to the Maker website and actually cut and paste that code. It's super easy, it's already done for you there. So when you're on the Maker website, you can do a quick search. It'll be easy to find. Type in garage door. It'll pull up this project page. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see the code that they use in order to get this to work. So start by cut and pasting this into the particle code dashboard that we were just looking at, and then we'll make some final adjustments. Alright, so we pasted our code in there. Everything looks good. Now on the top left there's a little lightning bolt, and that basically flashes or sends the code to the particle that allows it to then activate. So when this happens, you'll notice there's a flashing magenta light. Onto the install here, what I did was I connected the red and black wires to the terminals that we identified it earlier. I velcroed the unit to the bottom of the garage door. Let's see if it works. Alright, so launch the Blynk app and hit the button, see what happens. Success! We did it. Cool. So I hit it again, it stops, reverses. It appears to work fine. I wanted to run another test in case the power cut out. I read some things in some of the other instructions that if the power goes out and it comes back on, it can sometimes trip the relay to open it or close it. So that would obviously be bad if you were away. Power went out, came back on, and the garage would open. So what I'm doing here is basically just turning it off, turning it back on, and making sure that the garage door is not opening. And it's not. The final step is to complete the enclosure. So what we need to do here is drill 2 holes, one for the wires to come into, and then on the other side, one for the micro USB cord to go through. So I did sort of some eyeballing here. Drilled a hole. This is for the wire side, so it's pretty easy. Just one small hole that'll allow you to put the 2 wires through. Easy enough. And then the other side, I'm going to sort of guesstimate it with my eye. I've sort of figured out about where in the middle it was. And I'm going to drill 2 holes, and then I'm going to get a little file and just file it through, and hopefully I'll get the right size slot there. So I grabbed a round file here, and what I'm hoping to do is be able to just file in between the 2 of them, and then that'll connect it into sort of one elongated slot. I think I ended up coming back to this with a sort of a flatter file to flatten it out, but ultimately it worked out well. It was better than cutting all the way up from the bottom. I just gave a cleaner install. Alright, so it's time to put everything up together and Velcro it back to the bottom of the garage door opener. Here's the final view here. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below.